The South Korean TV series Squid Game offers a vivid and brutal portrayal of human desperation, addiction, and the lengths to which people will go for the fleeting hope of escape. What is striking, though, is how closely this dystopian drama mirrors the behavior that we see today in the stock market. Before we do a deep dive, I just want to say that there will be spoilers ahead. If you haven't yet watched Season 1 and Season 2, I highly recommend it. The series offers way more than just entertainment. It's a powerful metaphor for modern life and its darker corners. At its core, Squid Game is a hyperbolic metaphor for life itself. It's an exaggerated, yet disturbingly close to reality. The premise is simple. A group of financially destitute individuals are invited to a remote island, where they engage in life and death games for a chance to win a massive cash prize. The odds are stacked heavily against them, and every loss is a step closer to obliteration. In the show, one character stands out as a symbol of the system that perpetuates this cycle of desperation. He is the recruiter, a figure who entices the most vulnerable members of society with the promise of opportunity, offering them a choice between bread and lottery tickets. On the surface, the choice seems obvious. Bread, the guarantee to not go hungry and to live potentially another day. Eating is essential for survival. Or a lottery ticket, the hope of improbable riches. How many would really choose the bread? Logically, we understand the odds of winning the lottery are very minuscule. The odds of winning the Powerball in the US are 1 in 292 million, and there's no better odds in South Korea's equivalent. Yet, in this moment of crushing desperation, the lottery ticket is overwhelmingly chosen by the participants. Why? Why would anyone gamble with the most basic need, food, when the choices of success are so slim? The answer is in the allure of hope. The people who chose the lottery ticket are driven by the belief that this single gamble is the only way out of their hopeless situation. In Squid Game, this moment is driven home when the recruiter dumps all the remaining unused bread on the ground and symbolically destroys it, saying that he already gave them a chance. How many times do we every single day destroy the opportunities that are handed to us, clinging to our misguided hopes of sudden wealth or success? In that moment, the recruiter becomes the embodiment of a system that preys on the vulnerable. The homeless characters, having lost all hope and the stability of their daily lives, they see the lottery as their last, best chance to change everything. The same cycle of hope and despair plays out in the stock market, where those who are desperate for financial relief take disproportionate risks. They chase the mirage of wealth that always seems just beyond their grasp. This behavior is familiar to anyone who has witnessed the volatility of the stock market, where a single, high-risk investment promises to change a person's life in an instant. The stock market, like the games in Squid Game, is full of uncertainty. However, there are key differences that make the stock market far more insidious, as the people who are the most vulnerable to its dangers are often the ones with the least financial literacy. If you spent any time in the dark corners of social media, of financial forums such as Reddit, you'll recognize the frustration in voices that call for radical changes. Eat the rich, abolish capitalism. But these calls rarely come with solutions, only anger. Many are unable to afford basic necessities as wages stagnate, inflation rises, AI continues to take our jobs. Yet in the face of these harsh realities, the allure of quick fixes, such as a high-risk investment or gambling, is very hard to resist. It's no surprise that low-income individuals are disproportionately represented in gambling statistics. More than half of all lottery tickets are purchased by those earning less than $30,000 annually. The same demographic spends more of their income on these high-risk ventures, whether it's scratch-off tickets, slot machines, or online betting. But is it truly their fault? Can we really blame the poor for seeking any possible escape from their circumstances? Or do we point the fingers at the gambling industry, which invests heavily into marketing to those that are the most desperate? Consider how many hours of sporting events are now laced with advertisements for gambling apps. How many more halftimes presented by DraftKings or FanDuel will we have to sit through, constantly bombarding the audiences with promises of easy wealth? How many more children will grow up having to watch these messages, associating sports and entertainment with the promise of a sudden fortune? And what about our education system, which fails to equip us with the most basic of life skills, financial literacy? We spend years studying algebra, studying history, yet we graduate without the knowledge needed to manage our own finances, invest wisely, or build wealth sustainably. We are taught to chase successes, but not how to lay the foundations for it. But I'm not here to merely point out problems. If I did so, I would be no different than those that make endless complaints on Reddit. Instead, let's focus on a path forward, a way to break through the cycle of desperate choices, whether it's in Squid Game or in the stock market. Here's some practical wisdom. Number 1, set boundaries for gambling. If you must gamble, let it be in moderation. Set aside a small, fixed amount of money, an amount that you can afford to lose without it impacting your daily life. And once it's gone, walk away. Don't chase losses. The longer you stay in the game, the more likely you are to lose. Number 2, set limits on winning. When you win, recognize that enough is enough. Set a profit limit. When you've won enough to feel content, stop. The odds are always against you in the long run, so don't let the allure of more gains fool you. Number 3, avoid desperate decisions. The worst financial choices are often made in desperation. It's when we feel hopeless that we're most vulnerable to fall for get-rich-quick schemes. This is how we fall for 100% returns with no risk. This is a red flag every single time. Number 4, embrace financial literacy. Learn the basics of investing, of asset classes, of wealth building. Understand the proven methods of growing wealth, such as through stocks, bonds, or real estate. It is the antidote to the hopeless gambles that people make. The stock market, though very volatile, has a long history of providing steady returns when approached with knowledge and patience. Number 5, create an emergency fund. Life will inevitably throw the unexpected at you, whether it's a flat tire, a broken tooth, or a medical emergency. Start an emergency fund, one that can cover at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses. And no, stashing money into Misty and calling it an emergency fund is not an emergency fund. It needs to be liquid and easily accessible, and not have the chance of going down 40% in one day. In the end, Squid Games isn't just a show about survival. It's a parable for our times. It reflects the destructive allure of hope and the blind spots that lead us to make choices that ultimately harm us. Yet, by choosing knowledge over desperation, responsibility over recklessness, we can begin to break free from these cycles. It's not a quick fix, but it is a journey. The true question isn't why people gamble, but how we can create a system where such desperation is no longer a reality. The odds may not always be in our favor, but with the right knowledge, the right mindset, and the right decisions, we can start to play a game where we stack the deck in our favor.